Imagine you are among the crowd, standing in front of a beautiful church or a cathedral, and you are admiring this beautiful church, and you are telling to each other how wonderful this church is, beautiful one. As we find in the Gospel, the temple was adorned with costly stones and votive offerings. Now, similarly, we might have our own words, but we might be admiring this beautiful church. And suddenly, among the crowd is this person who stands up and says, "All that you see here, the days will come when there will not be left a stone upon another stone that will not be thrown down." Imagine when you are admiring something so beautiful, and suddenly a person tells you, this beautiful church will be destroyed. How would you feel? And what thoughts would cross your mind when you hear those words? And here is in a place completely different from our own context. The temple was everything for Jews. That was the center of their life. Everything revolved around the temple. So their lives were based on the temple. As they were admiring this temple, Jesus stands and tells them, this temple will be destroyed. And these people would look at Jesus and say, "What are you talking?" Imagine this situation, the emotional connection that they had to the temple. And it is in this context, Jesus tells them, the temple will be destroyed. Now, when Luke was writing this text, after 40 to 50 years later, after the death of Jesus, now this was not simply a prediction. In Jesus' time, Jesus predicts the destruction of the temple. As Luke writes this text to his own community, the temple was destroyed already. In 70 AD, the temple was destroyed. So, at the same time, Jesus' crowd, it was a prediction for Luke's community. That was a fact, a reality. It is a prediction or a reality. The truth is, the temple was destroyed. What does Jesus want to tell us today? People were not able to appreciate the true temple of God. Now, temple was everything for them. Temple was built in such a way, a meeting place between heaven and earth. And people experience God's presence in the temple. And here the Messiah has come. People are caught up with the structures. They are not able to go beyond the structures and welcome the Messiah, who is the true temple of God. Messiah has come. People are still running after the temple, and God has been abandoned. But God never abandoned them. Jesus tries his best to convince these people, you are in the wrong direction. I'm not telling that structures are not important. I'm telling what is the most important thing. People have missed the presence of God in Jesus Christ. Sometimes in our life, we need to ask, we are caught up in various structures. We are running after various ideologies. We are running after many preachers who preach about Jesus Christ. We are quoting many of the preachers about Jesus, but we have forgotten the center of our faith, that is, the person of Jesus Christ. Like the people at that time of Jesus, sometimes we are caught up in the structures, the beauty of what we are experiencing now. We forget to. We are not able to experience God's presence and who is Jesus in our life. And Jesus tells each one of us here, what you are staring at, what you are admiring will be destroyed. Then what happens to us is, where is our faith? If our faith is built on sand, it will soon collapse. But if your faith rests on the person of Jesus Christ, your faith is like a house built on a rock. It will not be dismayed. When difficulties arise, when problems come in our way, when we are not able to face challenges, our faith is shattered because our faith is not grounded in the person of Jesus Christ. That's why we find in the gospel, Jesus tells these people, there will be many people will come and say, this is Jesus. And when we are going through difficulties, people try to mislead us and tell, this is Jesus Christ. But Jesus tells us, where is our faith? Do we really get in touch with the person of Jesus Christ? Or are we caught up with the structures, beautiful churches and beautiful things and the beautiful liturgy? And these things must lead to Jesus, not that this is Jesus sometimes. We fail to confine ourselves to little boxes, and we fail to recognize God, and we think this is God. And every time when we think of this is God, God escapes. And he tries to go beyond what we imagine, but we are sometimes reluctant to be challenged by those things because we try to live a comfortable life, which is very easy. If I do like this, I encounter Jesus. No. People in Jesus' time felt that they will truly encounter God in the temple while God was killed outside the temple. People were so busy and caught up in sacrificing lambs inside the temple while Jesus, the Son of God, was killed outside the walls of Jerusalem. People were not able to recognize Jesus. We need to ask ourselves, where is our faith? Where do we focus? What do we focus in our lives? Do we invest our time, our energy to get to know Jesus, who is the real temple of God? And this temple of God comes to you every Sunday, every day through communion. And when you receive that communion, you become the temple of God and you become a presence of God in the world. And if you cannot show who God is through your life, because then you become the temple of God, we are not witnessing to Jesus. And when you witness to Jesus, you will experience persecutions, tribulations, and challenges. And what Jesus promises us is, not a hair on your head will be destroyed. What we need is perseverance, endurance, and constant desire to encounter Jesus in our life rather than caught up in the structures. May our hearts be open. May our minds be open to welcome Jesus beyond the structures and beyond our preconceived ideas, ideologies, our way of worshiping God, that we may truly encounter Jesus, who is the true temple of God.